What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Voice of Bedlam live on the All In Sports Network. I'm your host, Andrew Santoro. We got a great show planned out for you guys today. Now, this is our first show on the All In Sports Network. I believe we'll be on Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. So, guys, make sure you tune in. But let's get to some of the other members of the VOB crew, and let's talk to Devil John. What's going on, John?
The only other member today. So,
well, we have other members.
Yes, the VOB crew is vast in number, but yes, it's just the Dolo mission here of me and you. Dating back to episode number 4, which, I know I said it on Facebook today, but I just wanted to thank everybody for supporting the show, and thanks for All In Sports Network for believing in the show. And we plan on giving you the same best quality content that we did in the beginning and pushing it to the new threshold. So cheers, everybody, to more episodes and great content.
And now, the show will still be available in podcast as it always was in all the same locations, platforms. So that's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music. You can go over to voiceofbedlam.com, click on audio podcast or video podcast and get to the YouTube. So everything's still the same. And we are still going to tell you guys about the home of Joker Choker.
Yes, jokerchoker.com is the home of Joker Choker Pro Football Pick'em Poker. Now, that is the using Pick'em football with the strategy of poker to win games. And now, if you're good at poker and you're good at Pick'ems, guess what? This is going to be your game because it takes strategy to win.
Now, each week you pick your game winners and try to build the best poker hand possible. So each team you pick on the ticket, it's ticket style, each team you pick has a poker card next to them. And so say you pick the San Diego Chargers and they have the 3 of spades. If the San Diego Chargers win, you get that 3 of spades, and you're going to simultaneously pick games and try and win a 5-card poker hand. And now there's multiple contests going on, and you guys can win over $500. So make sure you guys go over to jokerchoker.com and use promo code BEDLAM at entry. That's BEDLAM, just like the show, and get some free bonus coins so you guys can get in a little bit more of the action for free.
Yeah, it's a fun game, and you got to get into it just like we're about to get into the Daily Breakdown.
All right, now the Daily Breakdown is our nice little news segment where we break down what's been going on. And of course, during the season, now Friday show will typically be previewing the games to come, but we will also be reviewing the Thursday game, and that's where we're going to start today, looking back at the Jets and Bills coming at you from MetLife Stadium. Now, John, I don't know how much of the game you caught. I caught a decent amount of it. It didn't have my full attention, but what?
I had all eyes on this game because I drafted the infamous Sammy Watkins. All right,
Mr. Injured.
Yeah, Mr. Foot injury. But honestly, he still put up some numbers. He only gave me 5 points last night, and my opponent, a friend of mine, had Brandon Marshall. Yeah, so
I had Brandon Marshall in our league.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm winning 56-0 with Matt Forte and Brandon Marshall.
Oh, that's
boy.
That's a good night for you.
There
then.
You go.
Yes. Watching the Bills and the Jets exchanging so many touchdowns, and it just made me think of what happened to Revis Island. Now I think
that was noticeable.
I think Revis Island is now Dead Island. And it's not to say that he's out there playing dead or anything. It's just now I think that the supporting cast around him is so either weak or it's just unsupportive to the things that he's going to need as he ages out of the league.
Now, Darrelle Revis led in solo tackles with 8, but that's pretty much just because he was getting thrown at all night.
Yeah.
Had 10 total tackles. But, I mean, this game, to me, it was all offense. I mean, these quarterbacks were just slinging it around the field. I mean, don't forget about that big play that the Bills, but who had the big play that was called back? Oh, it was the Jets.
Yes.
They committed 2 penalties, and Decker got the personal foul. And it's funny because that's the second time I've heard him say now, and if this player gets another penalty of this kind, he is ejected with that new rule. With the technical foul rule, if you will. But
they didn't waste time for that because the Panthers and Broncos were the first ones to hear that one, and I swear it was like on the opening series.
Now Fitzpatrick, I mean, he did not look good in the first 2 series of this game, and it was like, after throwing that interception last week, he did play nice last week, but after throwing that interception last week, ending the game like that, and then he wasn't starting out good, but he ends up with 563 yards and 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. Now that gives him 2 on the year, having the one that ended the game last week, but his touchdowns, so he's at a 4-to-2 ratio throughout the 2 weeks. He's gonna have, I mean, it's only the first 2 weeks, but he's gonna have to get that a little bit higher. But now we were talking about fantasy, and like I said, I got Matt Forte, who got me a pretty little 196 yards with 3 touchdowns. So, and I also had Brandon Marshall, who had a nice game, but he didn't get in the end zone. But definitely got me like 21
yards
points.
though, right?
Got me something like 21 points.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have a league going on, sponsored by DraftKit.com. Now, remember, next year when you guys are planning out your draft, if you're going to have a live draft, I don't have the trophy with us at the moment. We'll have to bring it out for the next show. But go over to DraftKit.com. They can get you guys great fantasy football trophies. They can hook you up with a whole draft kit. And but in our league, I mean, how are you doing? How do you think you'll fare this week, John?
I'm feeling all right. I'm just, as we're talking about it, I just wanted to open up the app to see if anybody's made any like last minute moves or anything. I didn't have any players going into this week. I should say in the Thursday night game, I didn't have anybody in our league. In another league, I had Sammy Watkins, and me and my friend were going back and forth with text messages, and once Brandon Marshall started going off a little bit more, those text messages ended very abruptly.
But now, see, this game was back and forth, and it ends up 37-31. Now, the Jets, at one point, I think they had a 17-point lead.
Yes.
And then they were down by 5. Mm-hmm. Then they were down by 5, and then they ended up going up by 14.
The Ryan brothers really have to figure out what the heck is going on with defense, because I
0-2 now, Buffalo.
I had a discussion. It was very brief today, but with a Buffalo Bills fan, and they said that the wrong coordinator got fired, because after this game, the offensive coordinator got fired. He's gone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I forget his first name, but his last name is Roman. And he got cut. He was the offensive coordinator there. And honestly, I believe it. And I think it's
Greg Roman.
Yeah, Greg Roman. But honestly, it was the defense. It was the defense that gave up that game. It wasn't the offense. The offense put up a lot of points. I just think that they're not using their weapons as much. Maybe I'm just being a little bit, I guess. I don't even know if that would be like prejudice or anything, but I was like, you didn't use Sammy Watkins, and I started him this week. It's like everybody, like the NFL needs to consult, the fantasy football players or something like that. But honestly, it was the defense. The defense, which is run by his brother, did not look that great, towards the stretch. And maybe it's obviously it's a certain percentage going to the coach. Then there's a certain percentage going to the players. Then there's a certain percentage going to the scheme. So you point the fingers where you think they belong.
ESPN.com has an article up suggesting that the Bills, basically titled "Rex Ryan will struggle to sell Greg Roman as a scapegoat." So basically, the media is trying to say that it's more a Rex issue, and I got to be honest here. I think I'm gonna have to agree with that because Rex hasn't had success in a while. The deal with Rex is, I think Rex is just the guy that you want to have a beer with. Rex Ryan seems like a nice guy. You want to root for him. He's kind of an underdog, and he's real pissed
off. Beer drinker,
you know what I mean? Yeah, and then he's got his brother Rob, and they're teaming up, which you knew from the gate did not sound good. Rob Ryan did terrible in New Orleans. There's a reason why he is not the coordinator there any longer. But I don't know. Rex Ryan, when he took this job, he said he was happy to start the last coaching job he ever had. Do you think if the Bills bomb out and Rex Ryan is out of a Bills job, not that he's out on the hot seat yet, but he might be, but do you think he will hold true to that and retire from coaching?
Maybe he could do that and then maybe be like a body double for Ron White in movies.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I can see Rex Ryan
getting in movies
with Ron White. Yeah, I never realized that. He does kind of look like Ron White. But
yeah, that's the powers of
the blue collar comedy guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were kind of funny. I thought he was the funnier of the group, but that's just my opinion.
All right, well, let's take a look. You were talking about Buffalo's offense, so let's take a look at the stats. Looking at ESPN.com now, Tyrod Taylor throwing for 408 yards and matching Ryan Fitzpatrick's 3 touchdowns. Tyrod Taylor also threw an interception in this game, giving him a 1 on the season. Now, LaShawn McCoy was averaging 3.8 yards a carry, but it didn't ever, not that it has to be, but it didn't ever look real pretty. He did hit 117 yards, which is nothing to bat an eye at, and got the 1 touchdown, but I don't know, it just didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like they could own the run game, but this was all offense on both sides of the ball and really was a
well Shady got
an aerial attack.
17. The thing that I was very upset about was that Sammy Watkins only getting 63 yards, but he got the most targets at 11
and only pulled in 6 of them, just over 50%.
So some of those catches I saw, it was kind of like a 50-50 blame on at least about 4 of them I saw. Well, but there was a couple balls that Tyrod, obviously maybe he just misjudged it a little bit or whatever, or maybe Sammy Watkins isn't as good as I thought he was. I don't know.
Well, I've kind of been saying that Sammy Watkins going number 3 overall. Now that was in 2014, I believe, right? Right. And then Mike Evans went, I believe, 5 to Tampa or somewhere right after that. Odell Beckham,
for wide receivers.
Yeah, and then Odell Beckham coming in with
Benjamin.
Kelvin Benjamin was what, 18? 21? I don't remember. I'm just saying numbers now.
He was the first. He was a first rounder.
Yeah, he was definitely a first rounder. But he was injured. All those receivers were pretty much injured at some point during the rookie year, and
except for Benjamin.
Yeah, but then he went on
IR. And then the next year he got hurt at practice and ended up on the PUP list for.
Yeah, but Sammy Watkins was starting to show signs of being injured, but. I don't know. He just really never seemed to explode, but it's only his 2nd year now, so I don't know.
I believe in the kid. I don't know why I'm calling him a kid, but I believe in the dude. I think he's an explosive player. Even when he's playing hurt, he still puts up numbers. Like, he's got a messed up foot, is from what they're saying, that it's not that great. He's not 100% on his foot, but it
never is 100%. It feels like he's too young to be the guy that you always have to look. You always have to look at the injury report.
You know what I'm talking about? That I call it the Yao Ming thing, because I've never seen someone that had a foot injury that just lingered so long.
Oh, Jeremy Shockey, turf toe, had that for 97 years.
Yeah, that's cray. That's cray. But he. Yao Ming, I should say, went out with a foot injury, and it just kept lingering, and it ended his career. So I hope that that's not the case here. I think it was just a little bit of minor foot surgery that, he could be, back to, 100% hopefully by mid-season, I would have to assume. But then again, with him, running on it, practicing on it, you're re-aggravating it, each time. So you push your full completion of that tear by days. When you keep re-aggravating it, you're basically re-shredding what you tore. So we'll see. I honestly, I'm still gonna hold on to Sammy just because I think he's one of their top guys, and he's gonna be that top guy come the end of the season.
All right. Well, let's. You want to wrap up Thursday Night Football?
Show.
And turn the page and take a look at this Sunday's NFL action. Now, the first question I got, John, is can Blaine Gabbert repeat with the 49ers going up against your Panthers?
No. The Panthers are the number one defense in the NFL right now. I know that's self-proclaimed right now, but they are the number one defense right now. And Blaine Gabbert's going to give up at least 3 turnovers.
All right. Well, Blaine Gabbert had 1 touchdown last week, was 22 of 35 for 170 yards. Yeah. But the thing that is important about that stat is the fact that he didn't get any interceptions, and they were able to take out the Los Angeles Rams,
correct,
who were basically just terrible. Yeah. So but, you don't think?
1 interception to the linebacking core, 2 to the secondary.
All right.
I'm calling it right now. I'm like Babe Ruth in it right now. I'm pointing to the fences.
But now, what about Carlos Hyde? How do you think Carlos Hyde? Because I did see as well. The Panthers had a lot of missed tackles when I was watching.
They were aggressive in the gaps.
They're big name guys like Luke Kuechly, K'Wan Short. So how do you think Carlos Hyde with his 2 touchdowns last week?
With the beast that is known as Luke Kuechly and the young legs of Shaq Thompson, and then the veteran Thomas Davis on the other side.
Had an interception last game.
Exactly. So that's why I said there's going to be an interception between either him or Luke. Luke probably more so for the interception from the linebacking core.
But I definitely see the strong suit of the offense in San Francisco being the run game.
Yes, the Panthers had a hard time, stuffing C.J. Anderson week 1. I think that, they reviewed so much tape on that. They've, addressed the shortcomings of the new additions to the defense, that being like Bradbury. And honestly, I already said it like 3 podcasts ago about his performance, but I think that this might be the performance where he turns around, and I think he's going to pull in his first NFL interception against Blaine Gabbert. So dang, I might as well just predict who's going to get the 3rd then. Ben Awikir.
Right. And why is this? Are you just saying names?
I'm just saying names because that seems... No, I'm saying it because it seems more likely. The Panthers defense is going to put a lot of pressure on him, and he's going to have to make a throw within like 4 seconds.
Well, yeah, traditionally, I guess you want to play coverage against the rookie, but not that Blaine Gabbert's a rookie, but he is the lower scale quarterback.
Correct.
So I don't know. I do think they will send pressure as well, though.
Yeah. Shaq Thompson, is in his 2nd year now, and he's shown a lot of improvement towards the end of the year last year as well, and how when he was put into rotation. And now we got DeJuan Edwards in there now. He's a rookie. He's gonna get to see some snaps and things. And And then it's just I feel great about the rotation right now. There's a lot of, we got Charles there for another year, and I think that's going to be a great way for him to teach the new guys coming in, how to play them positions and push that defense to the next level as they transition with new players.
Talking about Charles Johnson?
Correct.
All right, Charles Johnson.
I just call him Charles.
He forced a fumble that Shaq Thompson recovered last week.
Correct.
Yeah, Shaq Thompson 3 tackles last week. Charles Johnson 2 tackles. Luke Kuechly leading the defense with 10.
And that name was Vernon Butler. I'm sorry, I totally dropped his name for a second there. But Vernon Butler was the rookie, and he's a monster. He kind of reminds me, between him and Starr, those two together.
Star Latula Lote.
You want to try that one again? No. He's like, no, bless you. No, between those two, it's like trying to stop a wrecking ball between two.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
I mean, the Panthers do have a phenomenal defense. Now, I don't really see San Francisco as a real aerial assault. But
yeah, they stuff that running game. They make them one-dimensional.
But who's in bigger games? Who's going to take Norman's spot?
Who? Bradbury. Bradbury is basically kind of already assimilated it, and when I say Bradbury, it's James Bradbury. He's really taken on. There was one guy that I mentioned it in an article I wrote that Zach Sanchez. I thought he was a pretty decent corner, especially in nickel packages and things. I thought he would have been a great addition to the team, but he's on the practice squad right now, so we might see him next year possibly. But James, he's 6'1", and I think not only that, just based off of the moves that he was making in that Denver game, he missed an open tackle on C.J. Anderson that could have maybe stuffed them on I think it was 3rd down, so that could have given us the ball back. And there was also a couple moves where he kind of cheated into the play a little bit and got beat. So there's obviously no one's expected to go into something and excel 100% off of first snap, but the growth that he had just in that game alone was enough to say I see this guy taking that position now.
Now that's a nice little segue into this next game, looking at an NFC East matchup, going to be a 1 o'clock Fox start, and I'm talking about Cowboys at Redskins. Now Josh Norman fighting off the franchise tag, signing a long-term deal with the Redskins. Now, Dez Bryant only had 1 catch for 8 yards last week.
Yeah.
So we were talking a lot about,
and he shut down Dez last time you saw him.
Well, I was going to say, how will he do against him this week? But last week, they didn't match up Norman with Antonio Brown
because
all that much. So is he even going to be on Dez Bryant that much?
I think they're going to put, I think the way that the media, because the media is going to spend it and spin it, I should say, in so many different directions that's not looking favorable to the Redskins, especially with that decision call. It's like, why wouldn't you put your big money guy that you obviously believe in on their best wide receiver?
Well, Daniel Snyder just throws money around, though. Daniel Snyder has always just thrown money around.
I guess so, but honestly, that's going to come back to, bite them. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's already done. Even though they got 3 Super Bowls, right?
Redskins?
Yeah, the Redskins.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, they...
with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't see... honestly, their wide receiver core does not really impress me too much, but they get the job done. So it's like, you don't have to impress me. It kind of reminds me of the Panthers of 2 years ago when Jericho's there, Jeremy Maclin's what is this, Carolina became the place where receivers die?
That or San Francisco.
Yes, definitely San Francisco, because they couldn't do well. They did enough as they could, I should say, with between Crabtree and Kaepernick. That was a pretty good combo.
Now, looking at the Redskins offense and their wide receivers, Deshaun Jackson, leading wide receiver last week with 102 yards, no touchdowns. Kirk Cousins, also no touchdowns, 329 yards, completing 30 of 43 with a rating of a 72.7.
Yeah, so that makes like Sean Lee's going to have to match up against Jordan Reed. Then you got Brandon Carr, who's going to have to match up with D-Jax almost the whole game, because he's a streaker. That's what he does.
What about Pierre Garçon, though? Pierre Garçon and Deshaun. I mean, and then but see, the big threat with Washington, the little wild card, kind of Jordan Reed, 7 receptions off 10 targets.
So I'm saying
last
he's going to
week.
be seen by Sean Lee almost the whole game. He's going to have to. If Dallas isn't putting Sean Lee on him, I don't know what they're thinking.
Now, but can you really afford to put that much coverage on a tight end?
They're
really
rushing,
focus. That's kind of why a tight end's like a secret weapon a lot of times.
Their rushing game is non-existent.
Yeah, Matt Jones, 24 yards last week for Redskins.
And I think that trend's going to continue. There's not going to be much coming out of the ground, so they're going to be forced to chuck it. And, honestly, getting over 300 yards passing is nice, but it also, you have to open it up and give your team other options to put points on the board. And if you're going to be one-dimensional, they're going to be able to change their game plan to things that are going to, win, put them in the better positions to win.
And now, looking at the other side of the ball, the Cowboys falling to Big Blue in a squeaker. Great game, opening weekend. Great opening weekend, really. Can week 2 even compete? But before we get over to the Cowboys side of the ball, let's remind you guys, you're listening to Voice of Bedlam live on the All In Sports Network. Guys, remember to check out the All In Sports Network app. You can find that at the Google Play Store and the
iTunes, Apple Store.
Yeah, all them places. You can find it at all them places. 24-hour live sports talk radio.
Let's just put it this way. You got a smartphone, you can find All In Sports app.
Or you can go to allinsports.com. But let's get back to the Cowboys. We're previewing most of the games from week 2, and we're going to have to start moving things along a little bit faster now. But Dak Prescott, didn't do anything stupid last week.
Yeah.
With no interceptions, no touchdowns, 227 yards, completing 25 of 45. That's a percentage of 55.6.
Yep.
So, they're also playing with another rookie in Ezekiel Elliott, who, for as much hype as there was, didn't really produce much. Got some fantasy points with a early touchdown, not an early touchdown, but with a touchdown, and also had the 51 yards. But let's move right along. And I don't know how much time you want to spend in the AFC North, but the Bengals will be facing off against the Steelers. Now, any AFC North matchup is always brutal. Nice and always brutal, but it might not be too brutal for too long, because word on the street is Commissioner Roger Goodell has informed the referees to be on a high alert because of the bad blood between the two teams. So we'll see if we get our first game with two technical fouls.
Is probably might get ejected.
We'll see. I wonder. We should make a little prop bet on who goes out, because you never know. Pacman.
I would say
you got Pacman. Is Pacman?
No, I don't think Pacman's playing anymore. I think he went to wrestling and then just fell off the face of the earth.
No, Pacman was playing last year.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't.
He was part of that playoff scrummage.
Oh, yes. Wow.
Adam Jones.
Yeah, man, Mr. Adam Pacman Jones.
He doesn't want to be called Pacman anymore.
Well, the name Pacman.
He is still on the Bengals roster, active.
Oh, well, good for him. I saw that he was getting into WWE stuff and all that crap, and I was like, "What? Are you serious?" And then I don't even think maybe it wasn't even WWE. Maybe it was something else thing. I don't know.
Now,
I'm not a wrestler.
The Titans drafted Adam Pacman Jones in the first round with the 6th overall pick back in 2005. Bounced around a little, was out of the league for a little, always had a bit of an off-the-field problems, and is pretty much known to shoot his mouth off, like when he was saying Antonio Brown was faking the injury, but then didn't play in the next playoff game. I will give it to him. He was talking trash all week, but when he didn't play, Pacman came out and said he was wrong.
Yeah, and that's the sign of a good, a real person.
Now, I mean, Cincinnati's defense isn't anything special. Let's just be real here.
No.
I have Cincinnati's defense in the VOB league with draftkit.com. So, but, I mean, the Steelers really burning it last week. Now, I have Antonio
I think that trend's
Brown.
Continue too.
Yeah, and this scares me because I have Antonio Brown, and I also have the Bengals. Now, let's just recap for the people who are listening to us for the first time on the All In Sports Network. ESPN totally screwed our fantasy league, auto-drafted half the teams. We decided to roll with it anyway, and then after all that, the servers go down on
you can't even see it.
Weekend. Servers go down on opening weekend.
It's like 1:15 the servers went down.
But with Antonio Brown playing against my Bengals, and I'm having Antonio Brown, what type of day should I expect?
You're well, first of all, you need to hit the waiver line before it's too late so that you can get yourself a different defense because they are going to get burnt. I have the Steelers winning this game, and I have them winning by at least 14 points.
Oh, see, I will agree that the Steelers will win this game, but I mean, I know Cincinnati didn't look too fancy last week, but I do think they will get it together a little bit more. A.J. Green is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the game, so I do think Pittsburgh will take it, but I think it'll be closer than that. It's not going to be double digits.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. There's so many possibilities, but honestly, the Steelers looked great. As I've clearly said plenty of other times, I'm a D'Angelo Williams fan. Even when the Panthers players that get drafted as a Panther move on, I still follow them as if they're still on the team. But I would like to see D'Angelo Williams have a great game, and honestly, I could see that happening.
Well, I mean, D'Angelo was one of the many Pittsburgh Steelers who were on fire last week, scoring 2 touchdowns off 26 attempts and 143 yards. Big Ben throwing for 3 touchdowns and 300 yards. 2 of those 3 touchdowns going to Antonio Brown. Of course. Who else would it possibly be?
I don't know.
Antonio Brown also had 3 plays of 20 or more yards.
Yeah, he was like it's kind of weird because you thought that the loss of Bryant was going to really hold them back, and obviously they didn't miss a step in week 1.
Yeah, Eli Rogers catching the 3rd touchdown by Ben Roethlisberger, and also Ryan Shazier had that nice pick.
Shazier!
All right, so John, we've already gone over the Niners, Panthers.
I got the Panthers winning that, and I got the Cowboys taking this one. I think Dak gets his first NFL win. Okay,
so you're going Panthers. I agree with you on the Panthers San Francisco game. I will agree with you on the Cowboys game. I have the Cowboys starting off 1-1 with the Redskins 0-2. Now, we are also in agreement with the Steelers, but I think it's going to be closer than you do. But let's get to, the game I will be tuned in and glued to my couch watching. That is the New York Giants hosting home opener against the New Orleans Saints. Now, this game last year was off the charts with Drew Brees winning Offensive Player of the Week. Now, whichever team won that was going to win Offensive Team of the Week. Both these teams had no defenses whatsoever. A better executed performance similar to last night, just no defense, all offense, all through the air, just chuck it up, play in the backyard. And I will say, as I like more of a traditional style football, but I'll take a game a year like that out of my team. I'll watch one arena football game, and I just wonder.
That's basically kind of what it is, right?
I just wonder. Now, the Giants' defense is substantially better Hopefully. Well, they do look better than they did last year. And the Saints, not so much. So do you think, even if this is a high-scoring affair with both teams scoring in the 30s, I do think the Giants will win this one. I think they'll win. I don't know if they'll win by double digits, but I'm going to say the Giants will win by at least a touchdown in a high-scoring game that you're going to want to bet the over on.
All right. You got Ingram. You got Hightower. You got Cooks. 3 solid players. Who's picking up Brandon Cooks?
Well, probably Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. The Giants also like to do a lot of left-right. They don't really like to shadow people. But if they were to shadow someone, which I don't think they will do, that guy would be DRC.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering because...
And Eli Apple will probably be playing in the slot unless someone from the Saints is lighting it up. Then DRC will, if he starts shadowing, DRC will move into the slot, and on third down, Eli Apple would then play the outside, and he'll probably get targeted then.
Gotcha. Yeah. In this game, I have your boys winning. I don't... I think one of the big X factors that made me think was who's going to cover Brandon Cooks, because he went off last week, and I'm sure fantasy people that listen to the show want to know does the Giants defense have what it takes to shut him down? Do they?
Now, Brandon Cooks had 6 receptions off 9 targets for 143 yards with 2 touchdowns. Willie Snead leading with yards. Willie Snead leading. Willie Snead was 9 for 9.
Yeah, Willie Snead 9 for 9
with a 19-yard average, 172 yards total with 1 touchdown.
Yeah, so that was the other one that I kind of left out because I didn't want to bring it up because I was like, he went off too. So it's like, I don't know, who knows. But that secondary is going to be tested on Sunday, and honestly, I think that we're going to see a high-scoring affair, at least 4 touchdowns apiece from each.
Now, looking at the Giants, if you haven't figured this out yet, I bleed blue, and I'm a diehard Giants fan. And
I have family that bleed blue.
I'm an honest fan, though, and I admit the Giants' flaws. But last week, the Giants, it was really a confusing game, looking back at that game. I mean, our brand new, expensive defensive line was getting the ball pounded on them. Just Ezekiel Elliott falling forward with Alfred Morris averaging 5.8 a carry, but whenever they would get to the red zone, the Giants would sure up and hold them to field goals, and that's basically the entire reason they won. That and Victor Cruz getting a nice little grab to celebrate his return. Victor Cruz was 4 for 4 on the day, 34 yards and a touchdown. The go-ahead winning touchdown. Manning did have the 1 interception. It looked like, according to the body language on the sideline, that it may have been Sterling Shepard's fault, running a bad route. Regardless, Eli 3 touchdowns to 1 interception. Odell Beckham, Eli Manning, not really in sync as they were their rookie year. Now, or Odell Beckham's rookie year. Odell Beckham in the rookie year 2014. Eli Manning and Beckham connected 69.9% of the time. Now, that number dropped last year to 60. And in this last game, Odell Beckham Jr. was the New York Giants' leading receiver with 73 yards off 4 catches, but he had 8 targets. So that completion percentage really needs to go up between the two. This could be one of the greatest connections known in NFL history. I'm sorry. Everyone believes Odell Beckham will go down as the next great one. But, I mean, they got to get that percentage up or it's not really going to happen.
I think the big storyline that came out of your camp week 1 was the reemergence of the one called Cruz.
Yes, absolutely. That's I would say from more of a media and emotional and fan. But another big shock was Rashad Jennings. Jennings averaging 4.2 yards a carry. Now, no touchdowns, 75 yards. But if you watch the Giants running game last year, this was phenomenal. I'll take that out of Jennings any day. I mean, the Giants are definitely a throw-first team. So if Jennings can keep those chains moving, and during the fourth quarter, they took a substantial amount of time off the clock with Jennings continuing to convert. Now, on the last one, it would have been nice if they would have got one more first down. They fell to a 3rd and 9. I believe it was because of a penalty. But if they would have got one more first down, Dallas would have never had another shot on the game for Terrence Williams to catch that pass around midfield and stay in bounds for the game to expire. They would have never even had that chance, but still, they chewed enough time off the clock. They gave it to Dak Prescott with no timeouts. Cowboys choosing to use their timeouts prior to the 2-minute warning. Couldn't grab that last first down, but Rashad Jennings, 4.2 for 75. I'll take it every week.
Another misuse of timeouts that costs you a game, and that's a bullet that I'm going to have to bite as a Panthers fan.
Right. But let's talk about
Patriots-Dolphins.
Yes, with an AFC East matchup.
Yeah, they're going to Foxborough. I have the Patriots winning this game, even with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, well, Jimmy Garoppolo over there looked phenomenal last
Yes, he
week.
looked really good, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not shopped around by the end before the trade deadline.
Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe.
Because
Wow,
with Tom Brady
he will
coming
not
back.
be a Patriot next year. I'll tell you that.
No, he won't be a Patriot next year, but he might not be a Patriot this year.
But is he going to Matt Castle out?
Possibly. Who knows? If
Only time will tell. It's only been one game.
Yeah, it's only been one game, and we can't really watch. We can't expect this egg to hatch in one day. So,
but in that one day, Jimmy Garoppolo going 24 of 33 for a touchdown, 264 yards. Now he was targeting Edelman a lot. Now Edelman
times.
still only, but early in the game it was just back to back. But Edelman only coming up with 66 yards on the game, being the leading receiver. LeGarrette Blount with one rushing touchdown for 70 yards. Now, does Miami have a shot in this game?
Honestly,
Adam Gase gonna have any luck?
Gase will keep it close. Patriots by 3.
Okay. Well, you have more respect for the Patriots. I do. I do not see Ryan Tannehill with his 186 yards and Arian Foster with his 38 yards,
But
averaging
this is divisional.
less than 3 yards a carry. This is divisional, and the Patriots have the record for winning this division. Any division, the most consecutive times. I don't see Miami doing a damn thing in this game, and I don't see Miami doing a damn thing this year.
Because how many times have the Giants been bested by the Eagles, and how many times have the Panthers been bested by the Falcons, or usually it's the Falcons.
Yes, I understand that, but I see Miami. Adam Gase, I mean, I know it's just his rookie year. I'm hoping he can get everything together. Patriots personnel do not traditionally do good on other teams, just like we were talking about Matt Castle. The coaches usually don't do good elsewhere either.
But
so Adam Gase,
that squad, man, he gets he knows that. He knows that squad.
Yeah, Adam Gase, youngest coach in the league, and I don't know. I got to see more.
I got the Patriots by 3 though, so
Now, Arian Foster had 38 yards on the ground, 62 through the air. Leading receiver and leading rusher still didn't break 100 yards. I just don't have much faith in that offense. I don't have faith in Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he's got to really. I don't know. They got to make a move with that. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo might be playing against his next team.
All right, we're gonna have to start moving through these a little bit quicker. We're gonna be on for about another 18 minutes, and we want to remind you guys once again, this is Voice of Bedlam live. Now, please go to voiceofbedlam.com. Now, we mostly cover football on Voice of Bedlam live, but on the site, you guys, we got articles about everything everything. We got MLB, NHL, mostly football once again. But you guys got to check out some of the posts up at voiceofbedlam.com. You can also see the show in its entirety in a podcast form or on YouTube. You can get the links from voiceofbedlam.com. Just click on audio podcast or video podcast. And remember, we will have new episodes live every Tuesday and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern on the All In Sports Network and the All In Sports app. But let's keep moving away. Let's keep moving on with this Sunday's matchups and talk about Chiefs at Texans.
Yes, but honestly, just so that we save a little bit of time here, I got the Texans winning, hands down. It's gonna be a good day for Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles is gonna have a good game, but honestly, the Texans.
Is Jamal Charles playing?
He played last week, right?
Yeah, he got injured.
So. So honestly, though, the use of Jeremy Maclin, which is it's like really weird to me because I always think of him being an older guy that should be on his way out. But
Jamal Charles is listed as doubtful for the Week 2 matchup.
Ew! Oh yeah, that's right. His knee.
Yeah.
The knee.
And I mean, Jadeveon Clowney actually kind of made his first appearance last week.
That makes Niall Davis next, right?
Yes, Niles Davis. But the Texans, Jadeveon Clowney actually make an appearance last week.
Yes. So the emergence of him coming out on that defense.
I wouldn't say he had an emergence per se.
But the lack of production that he's shown in the time, in comparison, yes. It was an emergence of the player that, people expected to see.
Now, Jadeveon Clowney having 3 solo tackles and getting some pressures on the quarterback and coming away with a sack.
Yep. So that's why I say Houston's going to win that one. I don't know. Who you got?
Oh, I would take Houston in a heartbeat. But the real shocker was J.J. Watt with no tackles.
J.J. Watt, no tackles. Well, sometimes they put those double blocks on them. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but no tackles.
Yeah, that's unheard of, especially for Mr. Watt.
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins had more tackles. DeAndre Hopkins making the tackle on the interception thrown by Brock Osweiler.
That's pretty funny. But still, Brock Osweiler will. I don't know. Maybe he'll give up another interception on Sunday. Definitely.
I don't know. I'd see maybe. I'm going to think Brock Osweiler might kind of fall into Jacksonville. The quarterback, Jacksonville.
Blake Bortles?
Blake Bortles, there you go. Blake Bortles.
I was waiting for him to find it.
Blake Bortles led the league in interceptions last year.
Yes, he did.
But Blake Bortles was also slinging it all around the field.
Yes.
I mean, now you want to jump in and move over to Jacksonville and talk about
Jacksonville. Well, they're going to be on the 4:00 games. Let's just run through real quick with the last 2 1:00 games. We got the Titans at the Lions. I got the Titans coming into Detroit and taking over that.
Nah, Titans are going 0-2. I'm gonna have to jump on the Lions, going with the silver and blue, even without Megatron. And Amir Abdullah performed really nicely last week. Stafford has had good years, at least on the stat line. I mean, I can remember Stafford being a semi-valuable fantasy quarterback.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to take the Lions in this one. But who you taking in the Browns, Baltimore?
Ravens all day.
Yes, of course. So it seems like so far the only game we are different on is this Lions-Titans game. But let's talk about Jacksonville at the Chargers. Going to see them Bolts.
Yes.
What do you think is going to be going on over in San Diego?
These young guys in Jacksonville are going to come into town and they're going to have another great day. I know that sounds really politicianish of me to say he's going to have a real good day. No. Blake Bortles showed that he's made a lot of improvements in his footwork and his just overall delivery, because TJ Yeldon, he moved the ball a little bit, and when I say a little bit, 39 yards, 1 TD. He actually sat on my bench. Probably should have put him in maybe, but not with 39 yards.
He got the touchdown, though. Who'd you play in his place, though?
Jonathan Stewart.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't give me no touchdown.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But he got me yards, 66 to be exact, I believe. So, Allen Hurns, though, leading wide receiver last week with 75 yards, and the Allens, as I like to call them.
The Allen wrenches.
Yes, the Allens. They'll have another great game because they split almost like 70-70.
Now, Julius Thomas pulling in the only touchdown in that game. Allen Hurns leading the team with 75 yards on 4 receptions and 5 targets. Allen Robinson, though, targeted 15 times, only pulling in 6 for 72 yards. Now, why is that completion percentage so low?
Why? Because usually it's like in a double situation. I know I watched.
And they like to have him as a streaker. And
correct. And you know, when you're making that judgment from the line of scrimmage of whether or not your players got the break or not, you literally have a split-second decision to make to deliver that ball. And sometimes it's going to work in your favor, sometimes it's not. With the experience that Blake has gotten so far and the chemistry that should have been, and still is, kind of, coming together between him and the Allens, he's got to either give his player a better chance at making a play, or they just got to stop throwing him the ball so much and spread the ball around a little bit more.
Yeah, but my question is, what the hell got into Melvin Gordon last week?
Well, I think he was sick and tired of, doing anything on the bench because, that's where he was most of the year last year with that injury. So, when you get the rock and you got someone like Danny Woodhead who came out hot, you got to come out as equally hot, if not.
Well, I mean, Danny Woodhead did go for the most yards, 16 attempts, 89 yards. Melvin Gordon with 14 attempts, 57 yards, but 2 touchdowns in the first half.
Yes. But
having no touchdowns last year.
Correct. So, that was his coming out party.
Basically,
you know what I mean?
Yes. Let's see if he can keep it up. Danny Woodhead did get a touchdown via the air. Phillip Rivers only touchdown for 243 yards.
I got Jacksonville winning still.
See, this game is a little bit harder for me to pick. 33-27 in overtime in a game they really had a big lead in, in the fourth quarter, no less. But we're getting a little short on time. We got about 10 minutes to go. So let's talk about real quick. I see the most interesting game out of the remaining games being Falcons-Raiders. So we're going to talk about that last. Let's real quick. Give me a pick. Broncos hosting the Colts.
Colts.
You're going Colts with Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck did play nice last week. The Colts, not so much.
Yeah, the Broncos, though, I think I actually picked them, but I would like to see the Colts win. Like, my heart pick is going to the Colts.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one, and I'm going to take the Broncos with their defense and Trevor Siemian. But how are we looking in this NFC North matchup? Sunday Night Football, NBC, Green Bay at Vikings.
It's going to be a good game with Sam Bradford coming out for his first NFL start with the Minnesota Vikings. So it's going to be Packers night, though. I think the Packers are going to win that one. And I also, in the other games that we kind of glazed over real fast from the 4 o'clock games, Seattle Seahawks over the Rams I have Sam Stocks' Buccaneers over the Cardinals.
I disagree with the Buccaneers pick. I'll take the Cardinals in that game. I will take the Seahawks. But didn't you take in our Joker Poker Pick'ems? Didn't you take the Rams over the Seahawks?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess that pick has changed, but it hasn't in Joker Choker. Remember to check out jokerchoker.com.
No. I have to gamble. So as much as I like to gamble, I know what the truth is.
Now, Vegas has Green Bay favored by only 2.5, saying the Vikings are going to keep it close. I disagree. I think Green Bay wins in a landslide. As I said, I would take the
How is it
Cardinals.
not going to be close? It's another division game.
I still don't care. I do not think that Sam Bradford in his first week with the Vikings is going to do much of anything. Adrian Peterson was like non-existent last week.
Yeah.
They have no offense. Stephon Diggs is pretty good, but he's only Stephon Diggs. So I'm going to have to. I think Green Bay will take the division and this game. Now for Monday night, the ESPN game, we got the Johnsonses, the Eagles, going out to Chicago to visit the Bears. So how's rookie Carson Wentz going to do this? Let's talk about this game and Oakland as well.
Oakland, I think is going to have.
Well, give me the Eagles first. Give me the Eagles first.
Eagles Eagles are going to have a good game. Honestly, this is. I said it to a lot of Eagles fans, and I don't know if I said it on the podcast clearly, but the first two games for him are training wheel games.
That's good though.
Exactly, it's good, but when he actually has to go up against a notable strong team such as the Steelers in week 3, is when the training wheels come off, is he going to be able to ride that bike effectively?
And now Carson Wentz throwing for 278 yards last week with 2 touchdowns to no interceptions. So, I mean, I don't know. This one kind of, I mean, I really got to go with, I guess I got to take the Eagles. I hope not, but I got to take the Eagles. I don't think Jay Cutler is going to be getting things done in Chicago.
Well, Alshon Jeffrey, right? That's about it.
I mean, Alshon Jeffrey, I mean, if he didn't get hit with that franchise tag, he'd have been making a lot of bucks playing for somebody else.
Oh, yes.
So you never know. And the Bears did not look terrible last week themselves. Let's see if I can get their numbers up here. Now, Jay Cutler had the 1 touchdown, but was sacked 5 times and threw an interception.
Right.
And Langford, though, I have Langford in our league, 57 yards for 1 touchdown. Alshon Jeffrey getting 105 yards to no touchdown. So we got a couple big name guys getting over 100 yards with no touchdowns. But let's move back to a 425 game. Head out west with the Cardinals to go visit them Oakland Raiders, and that's silver and black.
Oakland's going to win. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Panthers fan and also a Raiders fan, but the Raiders looked awesome last week, and I think that the adjustments that they're going to make going into this week are going to be very beneficial. As long they showed last week, if you shut down Devontae Freeman, you make them one-dimensional, and you just stop them. You got one person to stop out there in that wide receiver core.
And now David Carr threw for 319 yards and a touchdown with no interceptions. So I don't know. I really think this David Carr Amari Cooper connection is really going to get going. Now Amari Cooper, as we said, all the star wide receivers getting goose eggs, but breaking 100 yards. Amari Cooper with 137 of that 319 via Carr's arm. So now, what do you think of Reggie Nelson on the defense playing with Khalil Mack? Now, Reggie Nelson having 8 tackles in the opener, leading the team.
Honestly, I said it in one of the preseason shows that this defense is going to be either extremely good or they're going to be like mid-level. And they're showing up right now. And DJ Hayden is showing up right now. And honestly, just overall, this is one of those defense that I think a lot of people overlooked when it came to fantasy. But now, as you can see, they're putting up tackles for losses. They're getting tackles out there, and they're just shutting things down. Honestly, it's going to be a good wrecking crew over there in silver and black.
And now, I said Khalil Mack as well. Now, Khalil Mack had 7 total tackles, putting him right behind Malcolm Smith with 8 and Reggie Nelson with 8 as well. But they did not post any sacks. Oh, no, they did have the 1 sack. Bruce Irvin with a sack. You think with that defensive line, though, especially with Mack, don't you think they should be getting to the QB a little bit quicker?
In due time.
How do you think they'll get to Matty Ice?
Matty Ice is going to get put on his butt at least 4 times.
You like some bold predictions, my man. I don't know about 4 times.
4 times.
But all right, but what's Julio gonna do?
What's Julio going to do? Well, Julio is still going to put up some numbers, but I think what they're going to be doing is they're going to be looking for Sanu again to have numbers that he did in week 1, and also hoping that Tevin Coleman can also produce the way he did last week with almost 100 yards.
Now, Julio Jones' numbers were down. He was the number 3 wide receiver, only catching 50% of his passes, going 4 for 8, 66 yards, but did have a touchdown, as well as Mohamed Sanu. Sanu going 5 for 8 with 80 yards. Tevin Coleman 5 for 6, 95 yards. Well, John, let's run through them real quick, just so everybody knows where we're standing. And once again, this is Voice of Bedlam Live. I'm your host, Andrew Santoro. We're going to be on the All In Sports Network Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys check out the show. But, John, now just running through these. Niners at Panthers.
Panthers.
I agree. Cowboys at Redskins.
Cowboys.
I agree. Bengals at Steelers. I agree. Saints at Giants.
G-Men.
Damn right. Dolphins at Patriots. Yep. KC at Houston.
Texans.
I'm going to have to go against better judgment here, and I'm going to have to go with KC, even though I love D-Hop and the cool rookie they got. Which rookie did they pick up? He played real nice last week, the rookie in Houston.
No, Hogan is the guy in
not
England.
Hogan. Not Hogan. He had a nice game as well.
Yes, there was a lot of rookies that just kind of showed up. Will Fuller. Yes,
Will Fuller with 107 yards, 1 touchdown, and a 21.4 average in his debut.
So many names.
Okay, so that'll take us to Titans Lions. I'm going Lions. All right, so we're different there. I'm going Lions. Ravens Browns.
Ravens.
I will agree. Seahawks Rams. I agree.
I hope the Seahawks win, but for my choker, I hope the Rams pull an upset.
Okay. Bucks at Cardinals. We're different on this one. I'm going Cards.
I like the Bucks. Honestly, I think that
Jameis Winston and Mike Evans, real nice connection.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how that goes. But then again, that secondary is not terrible out there in Arizona. So going into secondary work, Jacksonville is going to be going up against Chargers, and I got Jacksonville.
Right, and Jacksonville. Okay, you got but I will take Jacksonville. I will take the Raiders, the Broncos, Green Bay, and the Eagles.
I'm in the same boat except for Colts. I would like to see the Colts win. So Raiders, Colts, Packers, and Eagles.
All right, John, you want to rock on out of here?
I do, but before we go, let's just run through real quick for Bedlam's Fantasy real quick. Jessica is looking for Drew Brees to put up numbers against her Giants to beat me, okay, who I'm mainly starting up Panthers this week, okay? Someone is going to walk out undefeated. Another one is going to eat the dust to 500, okay? Newly activated member Sarah is looking to hit the waiver line and get a new QB, which she got Yimmy. So she's starting Yimmy up against our boy Sean, and let's see how they go. Both won their first matchups, but only one will remain victorious. So Colin is looking to keep his winning streak alive as well against Ambrosico, who lost last week despite having a decent squad. Sam Stocks is also looking to shake off his week 1 loss with a game time decision between Big Ben or Jameis Winston as his starting QB, with the best for last, because the host gets the best for last treatment.
The host with the most.
All right. Andrew is looking to also rebound from his last week loss against Joe.
Destroyed.
Okay.
Now I am winning 56-0 in too legit to quit versus Pogo City. me having Pogo City. But I guess that music means it's time to get out of here. Had a lot of fun. First live show with the All In Sports Network. Remember, this is Voice of Bedlam Live. You guys can check us out Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned. We're going to be rocking through the NFL all season. Make sure you hit up voiceofbedlam.com. Check out all the articles. We got about 7 writers on the site now. So make sure you guys go over to voiceofbedlam.com. You can catch this show in its entirety if you click on audio podcast or video podcast. Also hit us up at Facebook, facebook.com/VOBpod. Hit me up on Twitter at Andrew Bedlam or hashtag VOB Live, Voice of Bedlam Live. But for Devil John, the man on the mic and the boards, I'm Andrew Bedlam, and we're getting the hell out of here.
Peace.